What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Night Showdown show here on Rotogrinders, also on YouTube. I am Britt Devine here with Keith. Keith, this is like a big game tonight. There's a lot going on here, a lot of high scoring players, a lot of strategy specifically on DraftKings tonight. I'm pretty pumped for this little game tonight.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. Tons of offense. Got this game on the main slate still, so we got a little throwback to a couple years ago where we're still sweating late into the night.
I'm from Monday night was on the slate, right? That's how long I've been doing this. Monday night was on when I started. Then they got rid of that. I was in an uproar. They got rid of Sunday. I was in an uproar, but I don't know. It is what it's fun, right? I like having the Sunday night on the main slate.
Yep.
So what we're gonna do? I see there are a lot of you guys watching. If you're in the YouTube chat, this is an interactive show. Feel free to post anything in chat. You can ask me or Keith questions, and we will get to them throughout the show as I see them. I got my eye on that. We're going to talk DraftKings first. I think there's just so much more strategy on DraftKings tonight than FanDuel. I guess we'll just get this out of the way real quick. Keith, do you see playing any MVP other than one of the quarterbacks? Because I was making a bunch of teams over there, and I don't know how you don't play a quarterback in the MVP spot on FanDuel today.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, both of these guys have 300-yard, 3-touchdown upside, and then some, and both of them run a ton. So, two of the highest scoring quarterbacks in our fantasy world, absolutely just going to be really tough for anybody to outscore them on FanDuel, especially.
Yeah, but we'll talk some FanDuel strategy in just a little bit because I want to talk DraftKings, and I guess I want to talk a bigger slate here because last week I think we didn't get it exactly right. We thought the Rams were going to be the play, and it ended up being the 49ers. So I want to rebound from that tonight, and I want to get this right. And I think tonight is what we expect. I think it's going to be a reasonably high-scoring game out there. Do you see ways where it all goes like 21-17? I'm sure there are ways that happens, but I just don't see it tonight. So I'm making most of my lineups. Basically, I am making all of my lineups I expect a high scoring game. I'm not really playing defenses. I'm very low on kickers, sort of that type of game tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. The only way it becomes a game like that would be if the Seahawks revert back to last year and decide to just pound it on the ground.
Ain't happening.
I mean, we're 7 weeks in, we haven't seen it yet, so I'm with you. I don't see any reason that it's going to go back to that style. So yeah, it's all systems go for both offenses for me.
All right, and then you were sort of sweating before the show with me. You were wondering, what have you seen anything on Hopkins? Hopkins is in. What were your thoughts on this Hopkins? I had you a little worried. Is he playing? Is he not playing? How are you treating him tonight now that he's confirmed in? Even though we were pretty much expecting him to play.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about him. He played last week on it. He did okay. It was more my concern of if he doesn't play for some reason, I'm going to have a lot of lineups to switch because I've got a lot of them on the main slate too. But with his price, I don't know that his ceiling is quite there as it was the first couple weeks of the season. So I'm on Kirk quite a bit on this slate, but Hopkins is going to be out there. He's going to still see the ball. I don't know if he's going to get the 35% target share that he was getting in the first couple of weeks of the season. He's going to be more in that 25% range, I think.
Yeah, I found it hard to get the lineups I want on DraftKings if I use Hopkins. He's just a little bit expensive compared to some of the other players out there, and you really can't get – if you get both quarterbacks with Hopkins, you're really sacrificing. I think, you're reaching for 2, if not 3 sort of long shot plays. And I'm okay with 2, but 3 guys that are playing 20% of the snaps or something like that. I don't know if that gets it done tonight because this game is just going to have some really high exposure. So I'm a little down on Hopkins, I think, compared to you in terms of exposure. But I want to talk overall captain on DraftKings, and I want to walk through some lineups here because it really greatly varies. If you try to play Russell Wilson in the captain spot tonight, I mean, your salary is hurting. You're down to $61.60 per spot, and you really can't do too much. I'm in more of the I think Russell Wilson in the captain's fine. I think Kyler Murray at the captain's fine. I think tonight I'm looking at the Lockett's, the Metcalfs, the Christian Kirks, the Chris Carsons. People hate on Drake, but he's still, they want to play Chase Edmonds, but Drake is, I mean, he is the clear number one running back. He has been all season. He was last week. I'm looking at some of those because it just saves you enough salary to get you really good lineups throughout your whole team. Maybe you're only taking one Hail Mary shot on like a Freddie Swain or a Will Dissly or something like that. And it just gets you all the other guys in your lineup tonight. So what's your overall allocation at? What are you doing in the captain spot? Are you jamming in the quarterbacks or are you spread out to the skill position players?
Playing the quarterbacks and the captain makes it really, really tough. You're going to have some difficult decisions if you do that.
Yeah, so I'm on my screen. You can't see it, but let's if you pull it up on yours, if I plug Russell Wilson into the captain, let's walk through like what does a Russell Wilson in the captain lineup even look like for a large field tournament tonight? How would you go about making that?
I mean, if I'm playing a quarterback and the captain, I need him to throw touchdowns to his receivers, and that means I need his receivers in the lineup.
Yeah, you're probably playing Lockett because he's $2K cheaper than Metcalf tonight.
Yep. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think ownership probably follows with that, though. But yeah, I'm if I have Russ in the captain, I'm locking in one of Lockett or Metcalf next.
Yeah, I think Lockett, you're probably going to want, if Russell Wilson, when you're playing these expensive quarterbacks in the captain, you got to have he needs 303 touchdowns. They got to go to your guys too. Everyone knows it's Lockett and DK. You've got, maybe you could sneak in a Greg Olsen, something like that. Greg Olsen's going to be pretty popular on FanDuel. I don't know how popular he's going to be on DraftKings tonight. Coming in, we have projected 30% of lineups. A red zone target, someone like him, you just need a couple of these. You're probably going to take you're going to need, a Christian Kirk. I mean, you can't even play, if I throw DK in this, I'm really just taking, two complete flyers.
Yeah.
You can make it work tonight, but I really like how it looks when I'm playing Lockett or DK or even the savings to Kyler Murray make your teams just a little bit better, in my opinion, tonight. So I have no Russell Wilson captain lineups in my DraftKings allocation tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have more than 10%, so I'm going to be below the field as well.
Yeah, because I want to flip this around. If you go, I think Tyler Lockett. So we have all these premium things here, and I'll give you guys a discount code for premium in a little bit here. But we have the Showdown, Slate projected ownership, and things like that. So this is from Slate IQ. We have Tyler Lockett as the second highest projected captain spot, with Russell Wilson as first. I think Russell Wilson's probably going to compete with Murray. We have Murray at 9%. I'd probably juice that up pretty close to Wilson and Lockett, in my opinion. But Lockett looks to be the more popular choice than Metcalf today.
Yeah.
I guess what's your thoughts on that? Because the cost savings is nice, and sometimes what I've found on some of my Lockett teams is I have $1,200, $1,400, $1,700, $2,000 left, right? And I could get Metcalf. In the ones where I have the 2,000, I think I would go to Metcalf because I think Metcalf's going to be a little bit lower owned, and I think Metcalf is a little bit more likely to have 175 yards and 3 touchdowns or something like that. That's sort of in his wheelhouse, where Tyler Lockett I think is a little bit less to do something like that. But my Lockett teams are they're almost all, I'm trying to be unique a little bit too, so I'm not ever really, leaving $0 or $100 on the table. If that's what I land on, I just go to the next viable player that's down just to save a little bit more salary. But I'm in agreement. Lockett is definitely going to be more popular than DK tonight. How are you handling that ownership wise?
I think one of the keys to making this all work, and it's kind of gross, but Freddie Swain has been running just about as much as David Moore as the third wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Their target share has kind of evened out since the beginning of the season. So he's down there at $800, and he lets you do whatever you want. And that's one of the ways I'm leaning. I'm going to be at least double the field on Swain, probably. We've got him projected at 4%. If he's really that,
I'll take the hard over on 4% Freddie Swain.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be up around 20% on Swain, probably.
That's if you ask me, that's probably he might end up, I don't know, 15 to 20% on flex spots or something like that. So
Yeah,
if you're trying to go over, I might even aim a little bit higher than that.
yeah. I mean, to me, he is the same play as David Moore, who's in like the 5Ks.
Mm-hmm.
So I just I'll just not play David Moore, hope that he doesn't do anything, and it's Swain that catches the one-off touchdown, and then he's made his value, and then I can get as much Lockett and Metcalf in there as I see fit.
Yeah, I've got Gridiron IQ pulled up on my end. All the people on the YouTubes, they can see it. So over the past 3 weeks, David Moore has 4, 5, 8 targets. Freddie Swain has 6 targets. So 2 targets less over 2 weeks. They basically, like you said, they're sort of splitting snaps 45, 40%, 36, 38. Moore was playing a little bit more earlier in the season, but it's sort of evened out, like you said, over the past couple of weeks. You can see all this on Gridiron IQ if you are a premium member with all the fancy colors and stuff like that. But yeah, Freddie Swain. I'm gonna pull him up on DraftKings. Not in the captain. I'm not that much of a sicko to play Freddie Swain in the captain, but in the flex, right? Let me throw him in here. He's like the Hail Mary. I think makes some of the most sense because you can actually project him to get a couple of targets. I think if you subscribe to the Blitz, I think he ends up in the optimal over there tonight.
Yeah.
But
when we're playing him, we're like you said, he's not a captain. We don't need him to score 2 touchdowns. All we're doing is hoping that he's going to outscore a kicker or defense. And
you need
and
two catch it. If he gets like 4.5 or 5 points, if somehow he gets a touchdown, I would imagine if he scores a touchdown tonight, he's going to end up on the optimal team. I would imagine.
Yep, agree.
Because that the problem is when you're playing Swain to be able to play Murray or Russell Wilson in the captain spot generally. So a lot of those teams do end up looking similar because you have to save that sort of money, right? So you play Russ. If you play Russ, I'm sure you have a rule to play at least one of DK or Lockett. Would you just like force both of them in there tonight? If Wilson's your captain? It gets super expensive.
If you could see, I don't want to play really without Kyler either. So then we're talking, it gets really, it's not even possible to do that. You can't play Metcalf, Lockett, and Kyler in a Russ captain. So no, I'm just going to have to try to guess right tonight on Metcalf and Lockett.
Do you have any non-2 quarterback lineups on DraftKings? I think I have 1 out of 10 that's not both quarterbacks.
Yeah, not very many. I mean, the floor and ceiling on both of these guys is just, I mean, it's among the best that there is in football. So definitely.
And who would you prefer if you had one? I think I don't know if Kyler Murray's really a good passer of the football this season. He's been getting the legs have carried him 100%. With Hopkins a little hurt, I much prefer Russell Wilson, I think, over Kyler Murray. But Kyler Murray is going to get there because he's going to get his 75 yards, and he's basically unstoppable once you get inside the red zone in terms of either converting the touchdown on his own or throwing it to any of his random weapons that he has out there.
Yeah, I mean, I like Russ a little bit better, but it's really close. And just the floor on both is incredible, too. Because like you said, I mean, Kyler's going to have, I would think the floor on rushing yards is 50, 60 yards. Yeah. And he has potential to get the 100-yard bonus that way, too.
I want to talk. I see a couple people. Freddie Swain and captain sounds interesting. No, not do that. I want to talk some of the more long shots. Maybe you can go down. Do you have like your ownership of your captain percentages there?
I do.
So like, give me who like your top 4. How many people are you playing in the captain spot tonight on DraftKings? I think you can go like 8 to 10 deep tonight. There's a lot of plays out there.
I have 7.
Yeah, I think that's pretty viable. Who's like 6 and 7 for you down there? Who's like your long shot captain plays?
Long shots would be Chris Carson, and I'm taking the savings with Lockett over Metcalf, so Metcalf is down there as well. Carson and Metcalf are my lowest 2.
All right. Do you have because if you want to get weird, I think you can play like Christian Kirk captain lineups. I think you can play
up there.
Andy Isabella captain lineups. Don't hate me, I think you play maybe a Larry Fitzgerald captain lineup or something like that. Just because I think he's going to be out there, and who knows who can catch a touchdown from Kyler Murray. But Isabella's interesting. I don't like playing Isabella and Kirk, I think, in the same lineup. They seem to both garner those big deep throws over the past couple of weeks. If one's getting them, maybe the other isn't. I don't know. This is just like a little theory I have in my head. So I don't have those two paired on any lineups. But I'm debating, I have an Andy Isabella captain. I don't think I could play like Greg Olsen, right? Like 5 for 50 and a touchdown in the captain spot. Is that going to do it for you? Probably not. But the Andy Isabella 3 for 102 with a touchdown, right? That just, then you get Russ and you get Kyler Murray, you get the receivers that you want there. It's a long shot, but it's unlikely, I think, to be really duplicated. As you're not going to share first with 500 people. You might share it with like 3 or 4, which really has you a good payout. It's unlikely to happen, but I think he's pretty interesting. I think you can play some like a Chase Edmonds. I don't really love Chase Edmonds, but I guess Andy Isabella is probably my stop, at least in the salary tiers of guys I'm willing to roster in the captain spot.
Yeah, I didn't even quite go down that low. Kirk is my highest owned captain.
Yeah,
so I'm leaning on just the volume going to Kirk over Isabella, but I don't hate Isabella at all. We've seen him score 2 touchdowns already this year in an earlier game, and he's gotten, like you said, those deep targets down the field that can really pay off for you.
Yeah, he's not gonna go 7 for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns, right, but he can go 2 for 75 and a touchdown. And in the captain spot, I just want to throw this out here. You can then play Wilson, and you can play Kyler Murray. I guess I'll just do this by salary. It's probably a little easier for everyone to follow along. You can probably get a Tyler Lockett. You can get, you can probably, what do I got left? 12-5, yeah, right? Like I can even play a Metcalf, right? And I'm basically just taking one other Hail Mary, and I've got Wilson, Murray, Lockett, and Metcalf with Isabella in the captain. So then maybe I run it back. Maybe I long shot a Daryl Daniels touchdown, on his 2 targets or something that he gets tonight, right? For I think Daniels as the tight end, it seems like he's sort of taken over the tight end 1 spot. Will be on the field, I think, more than any other tight end out there. But your lineups look really good elsewhere if you can sort of sneak in the Isabella captain. I just wanted to throw that out there because I think that is an interesting way, maybe not too duplicated or anything like that out there. So I guess that's, you got any weird rules or anything like that in the captain spot tonight? Like if captain, then X?
Ones I always make are, if I'm playing a quarterback, I want 2 pass catchers.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it tonight. I mean, there's so much offensive potential that I don't think you really need to limit any. As far like running backs are typically someone I'll limit, but I could see Carson and Dre getting there. Definitely Carson and Edmonds getting there because of Edmonds' pass catching.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not doing anything like that this week.
I want to see what do you think of? I know people are always out there betting and stuff like that. What's your take on the total? Looks like it's what are we at, 3.5 still? I have plenty. I was talking pre-show. I was in Pennsylvania over the weekend, and I went ham on the DraftKings Sportsbook when I was there as a new user sign up. It was just free money was flowing all over the place, right? So, Seattle, I think is just light years of a better team than Arizona. I have plenty riding on them at the 3.5. I think they win. I think they beat Arizona pretty easily. I think Russell Wilson is, I don't know, the best quarterback in the league. I think he's got one of the best young deep receivers. It's just the absolute perfect match of Russell Wilson to DK Metcalf. And then you got Lockett underneath, and Greg Olsen, and Carson's great, and the line's great, and you can run against them, and the Arizona defense is banged up. I just think this Seattle team is 3.5 points better than Arizona quite a lot of the time here tonight.
So I completely agree with you, and I thought I was on a little bit of an island with that. On the expert survey, I think I was the only one that took Seattle.
Yeah, I was looking through that, so I'm going to bring this up. This is another premium tool. If you guys are premium subscribers at Rotogrinders, it's basically a questionnaire, Squirrel Patrol, Head Chopper, Keith, and then STL cards. It's just, hey, here's all these questions on here, and you can scroll somewhere in here. There's all the overs and things like that. So you got Seattle 34, Arizona 27. That's the type of game I'm making my lineups for tonight.
Yeah.
Everyone else is a little bit closer.
They've got it closer, yeah.
Squirrel Patrol had 31-24, Seattle, right? So he's got a touchdown. You've got a touchdown. Everyone and the other ones are all a little bit closer. Oh no, he has Arizona.
He has
Squirrel
Arizona
Patrol
winning, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's a hard no for me tonight. But you can, like, the thing about your lineups is, at least when it relates to DraftKings, is, I don't know, your Seattle wins game lineup looks really similar to what, like, your Arizona wins lineup is. Like, I think they're very
Especially in a high
interchangeable
total.
tonight. Like,
Yeah,
your game scripts of what you would do, they're very similar, the lineups that end up coming out of them tonight.
Yep, I totally agree, especially in a high total game, and both teams tend to lean pass heavy. So I want the passing attack on both sides, regardless of game script, pretty much.
Let's see here. Someone says the Cardinals have stayed under for the last 7 games. Going to be low scoring. I don't know. There's too many plays in this game. The quarterbacks are too good. The receivers are too good, and the defenses are too bad. It's in a dome too, right? Where's the blitz? Where's Derek Carty in the blitz in a dome, right? Like, I don't know. If it goes under, I didn't bet the over because it's high, but I don't think I could bet the under. You're just anti-fun if you bet the under tonight.
Yeah, I'm on the over. I think that the Cardinals defense has been a little bit fraudulent to start the year. I mean, I know they spent a high draft pick on Isaiah Simmons, and he's incredible. But they just lost Chandler Jones. It didn't affect them last week, but they weren't playing.
He's
Seattle.
one of the best pass rushers in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he was a difference maker, and he's not there anymore. I don't see Seattle having any trouble moving the ball.
All right, I'm going to circle through. I see a couple of you guys have asked questions already. If you have any questions, if you're out there on Rotogrinders or on YouTube, post it in chat. If you got a take on the game, let me know what you're thinking. We'll give our opinion on it. So I found one from Zach Varing. I hope you're still here. He wanted to know, can you play Daniels and Disley in one lineup to get all of the studs, right? Daniels is like an ultimate, like the absolute last player I would probably play tonight would be Daniels. If I was crossing players out, legit can, yep. I expect him to get a lot of snaps, but could get legitimately zero targets. And I mean, so could Freddie Swaim and so could David Moore, but I think they're a little bit more likely to get targets. I don't know if I would play both of them in the same lineup. It's just a little too out there for my liking.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm going to go so heavy on Swaim, is just because he's so cheap that I don't have to play 2 of them, and that's exactly the reason behind it right there. Like Daniels is up there at 2.4K. Yeah. You save an additional a big chunk of salary by going just down from Daniels to Swaim, and I think Swaim's a better play, regardless of price.
There's a couple more. Cornelius Palmer, he made a take on Carlos Hyde. Hyde's back, so what can we expect out of him? Right, I think we're going to see very similar to what we saw in the first couple of games he played, where it's 6 to he had 4, 5, and 7. So if I set 6.5 rushing attempts for Carlos Hyde, over under would probably be about the line. Give him 1 or 2 targets. I don't have a ton of Carlos Hyde tonight. I don't think he made maybe one of the lineups I'm looking at right now. What's your overall take on him? I think Carson's still the lead guy. The thing with Carson is he's still just playing like 50 to 60% of the snaps, even in a close game last week. But the thing that's nice for fantasy, at least, is the targets have increased. The rushes, he used to get 25 rushes. Those have come down, but now when they're targets, and targets are better for us on DraftKings specifically anyway, I guess what are we doing with Hyde? Is Travis Homer, is DJ Dallas? I think those guys don't exist tonight, and Carlos Hyde basically steps back into his previous role. That's how I'm operating.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't mind playing him at his price. He's really cheap, 1.6K. If he falls in the end zone, you're there. So he's in the same mold of the Freddie Swain play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm certainly not expecting him to go out there and get 10 to 12 touches. It's going to be in the 5 to 6 range, like you said.
All right. Someone wants to know the best values under 2K.
You just talked about him, Carlos Hyde and Freddie Swain.
Let's see here. Let me just quadruple check. I wasn't missing anybody. Yeah, Hyde, Swain for sure, and then probably Disley. I think those are the only 3 playable options under 3K on DraftKings today. Disley or Olsen? I definitely want to play Greg Olsen for sure. If you're on FanDuel, Olsen is like he's the low price guy that fits into, I think, basically the optimal lineup on FanDuel tonight.
Yeah, I like Olsen tonight.
But on DraftKings, I don't think I'd play him in the captain. But as a flex play, like he's definitely gonna get the football. Like him or Larry Fitzgerald as your flex, or Jacob Myers, right? You got the kickers you can throw into there. I think I'm probably taking Olsen out of that little combination there.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, he's got the highest touchdown equity of those guys for sure. And all you need is a touchdown to beat a kicker usually. So I prefer taking a stab on a guy that's going to be out there on the field with touchdown equity as opposed to playing a very low ceiling kicker. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get to the top of a tournament, not the middle of it.
Yeah. So Guy Fieri, hey, if you're the real Guy Fieri, I love watching your shows. Probably not. He wants a Hopkins or Metcalf tonight. How are we doing this? If you think Hopkins is healthy, I think it's definitely Hopkins. But it's really like, because Hopkins can just have 12 targets in any game and 10 receptions. It's very unlikely that's in DK Metcalf's wheelhouse, but DK is much, he can have those huge plays, and 2 or 3 touchdowns I think are in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. So Metcalf always seems to be the odd guy out for me when Seattle ends up on these showdowns, and I've been burned by it a ton of times too. So it's not for the faint of heart, the Metcalf fade, but I think it's the right process. Now, maybe he just continues to get there and continues to crush me on showdown slates with Seattle on it, but I don't know. It always seems like the long touchdown that he has to get, and more often than not, it seems like he gets there. But Metcalf is the fade for me tonight.
We got a cash game. Who's the cash game captain tonight? I know who mine is. I want yours first.
Christian Kirk.
I would take Tyler. Tyler Lockett's discount salary is probably the way I would go.
That's the way I was leaning with Kirk too. But yeah, Lockett's up there. Yeah. I agree with that.
I think both of those are fine, and I would probably get both quarterbacks in your cash line.
And that's why if you play one quarterback, it gets really ugly. If you play quarterback and the captain, it gets really ugly to try to play a second quarterback.
Yeah, so I like Lockett, jamming both quarterbacks, pick a couple of value plays, go from there. Yep. Carson, this is from Kong. He wants to know about the Carson and the captain. I think you like Carson. I like Carson too. I think you're a little bit higher on him. So sell me on Mr. Carson tonight.
I definitely see a script where Seattle gets out to a 2-touchdown lead because Russ hits Lockett deep and then hits Metcalf deep on the next drive, and from there it's Chris Carson's show. And if he can get in the end zone twice and they don't have to throw much because Arizona is having trouble moving the ball. There's a path where Chris Carson can be the top scorer.
All right.
It's not a likely one. He's not one of my highest owned captains, but I am playing some of it.
I'm going to pull up the Slate IQ because it's always fun to look at the premium stuff we got behind the paywall. When we do the free YouTube shows, we get a lot of people who don't have access to premium. So I'll throw out a couple of nuggets to you guys. The team allocation for top lineups tonight. So if you guys ever look at this or hear people, I know I saw someone earlier in chat, they were wondering about it. What is a 2-4 allocation? Maybe they were looking at Slate IQ, and it says right here. So it's the first is the number of players from the winning team, and then the number of players from the losing team. So tonight, right, in this big shootout, the 2 players from the winning team, 4 from the losing team, look to be extremely high leverage. And even if you flip it around, the 4-2 is also positive leverage, with everything else being negative from what the entire field's doing tonight. I'm looking over some of my teams, so I'm going to throw out a couple of teams. Let's see here. I've got a 3-3. I've got a 3-3. I've got a 1, 2, 3-3. I don't know. Maybe the 3-3s just look good. Maybe I should swerve more towards the 4-2, the 2-4. Those are both the positive leverage and slate IQ tonight. What are your teams looking like? In general, it's sort of hard to tell sometimes, but what's your take on what good teams should look like?
Yeah, I'm finding myself on the 4-2 quite a bit. The 4 being Seattle and the winning team, and 2 being the Cardinals and the losing team. And I think that probably goes to my expectation that Hopkins is healthy and he's going to play more and get a lot more volume than what you're thinking in your build. I just think Murray to Hopkins is going to be a ton of the Cardinals production. So those are the 2 Cardinals I'm trying to play. I have plenty of Christian Kirk too, but I'm really playing more 2 Cardinals, 4 Seahawks, with the expectation that the Seahawks.
It really just comes down, like, you can get all your good players. It's like, do you play Freddie Swain or do you play Daniels or do you play Disley, right? In like that last final spot. So you've got Swain and Disley are, I think, the superior choices, which is tending me to have those 3-3s instead of the 4-2s, and because like Daniels is the other guy, and like he could legit get 0 targets tonight, and I think the other guys will at least get 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'm leaning 4-2 with 4 Seahawks because of that, I would say.
Yeah, so you want Arizona to win, but
no.
Well, yeah, because that's what's right. You want the winning team. Arizona's 2, and then you got 4. That's what Slate IQ is telling you to make tonight.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, which would support a game script where Hopkins goes for 150 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. So always interesting to look at all. There's so many tools here. If you guys are premium members, there's Chop and Toe Tag and Tambo. They've got a little 20-minute premium video too. If you guys want to check that out after we're done this show, we'll probably be out of here. 7:45, 7:50 Eastern. We'll give you time to go check that out if you are a premium member as well. I want to jump over to FanDuel. We haven't spent too much time here. If you guys are in the YouTube chat, if you got any FanDuel questions, chuck them in here. We'll talk about them for a second. I mentioned at the very top of the show, it's very tough for me to not make a Murray or Russell Wilson in the captain or in the MVP spot on FanDuel. They're just too good of quarterbacks, and without the PPR, without the bonuses, it makes sense to play those 2 tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at projections right now, and they're $2,000 more than the next most expensive skill player. That's not enough of a gap. Like, they don't penalize you enough on FanDuel. In the MVP slot, we've got both quarterbacks projected over 10 points to the next closest guy.
What was you mentioned you had a little bit of Carson in there too? There's no salary restrict. You're just getting a little frisky on FanDuel to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's just hedging in the event that Carson scores twice and Russ doesn't throw for 2 and run 1 in.
Yeah. All right here. So those are what I like in MVP, and I'm just gonna like Murray or Wilson, whichever one you put in the MVP. I literally think like cash games, tournaments will all be decided by which one's your MVP. Gun to your head, who you got tonight?
Such a difficult decision. I mean, flip a coin. Like, there's so many factors that could change what game script they're in and things like that. I would lean that Kyler has a little bit safer floor just because of the rushing upside. I think that he has a higher rushing floor than Russell Wilson does.
Yeah, like Russ can't double. Well, there's no bonus or anything like that on FanDuel, but the rushing touchdown equity from Kyler with the rushing yards, I think I would prefer him I think like you, just slightly over Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really close. They're
That's
projected within a half point.
that's basically going to be everyone's like. If you're playing cash on Showdown on FanDuel, I don't know why you would subject yourself to such horrible things, but if you were, that's basically your decision. I think I would lean Kyler Murray by the slightest of margins over Russell Wilson. And then, is there anything really standing out to you, like on guys that make your lineup work good over there? The Greg Olsen, Larry Fitzgerald, those guys are, you know, they're 500 more than Freddie Swain, who might see one target tonight. And I can pretty much guarantee Larry Fitzgerald and Greg Olsen, those are the guys that make your lineups work over there. Will be the insanely popular lineup. I think will include Murray, Wilson, Lockett, and I think both of those guys. How do you even like make a lineup that isn't exactly that? Because that lineup is the only one that looks really good tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to have to take a shot and hope that Fitzgerald and Olsen fail, because from a volume standpoint for their price, they're clearing away the best play in that really cheap range that lets you get the more expensive stuff that you want to play. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have enough where you can pivot down to Kirk over Lockett, but I mean, I don't love that. Lockett's far and away projected better than Kirk. Like, it's taking shots in the dark, really.
Yeah, I think. Could you make FanDuel tonight? You can't make a lineup without both quarterbacks, right?
No, I don't recommend that.
Yeah, I don't see it.
What you have to do is go down hunting for that touchdown, and that might mean like I would play a lot more Will Dissly on FanDuel than I would on DraftKings, just because touchdowns mean so much more on FanDuel.
Unless this game is just absolutely weird, like 10-3, whatever wins on FanDuel is going to be split 8 million ways. I just feel like tonight, where DraftKings is just so much more interesting because I think you can play like literally 10 different players at the captain over there. So that's the real quick rundown on FanDuel. Again, if you guys have any FanDuel questions, shoot them into chat. We will get to those, or any questions at all in general, whether it's bets on the game, whether it's DraftKings captain, flex, rules, anything at all you can come up with for the next, 10 or 15 minutes. I will try to entertain anything you can come up with in this game. Let's see here. Daryl, he wants to know, he's playing 3 lineups with quarterbacks as captain. Who should he play in his third lineup at quarterback, right? So he's got a Russ, he's got a Kyler. I think probably Kyler. We've got, the slate IQ. I think the slate IQ is a little low on Kyler ownership. We've got him at 46 total and 9% in the captain. I think that's probably a little low. I think he'll creep up into the, 13, 14, sort of like Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett. I could be wrong, but I'm on the Kyler Murray over Russell Wilson by the slightest of margins. I mean, it's even the blitz, our regular projections, they're all very close tonight.
Yep, I like that, and it supports the leverage theory too. If you think Seattle's going to win the game, it's easier to play for Cardinals if you have Kyler in the captain. He's a little bit cheaper, and you're going to want more of his receiving options in a trailing situation. So that supports the 2-4 build.
All right, Cameron wants to know, Edmonds or Isabella, which one is the riskier captain? Which one do you think is going to be lower owned at the captain spot tonight? Who do you prefer in your allocation between those two? Like, Edmonds has a definite role, and he's put together some big games. He
does, and they'll hand it to him on the goal line occasionally too.
If Seattle's up too, like if Seattle's up 21-0 somehow, it's a Chase Edmonds third down, passing down work type of game too.
Yeah,
I would prefer Chase Edmonds. I think if you were asking Cameron, the riskier is definitely Isabella, but I think Isabella is a fine captain play as well, because if he hits the 3 for 80 yards and a touchdown and it's in the captain spot, I think that has the ability to get there, because the rest of your lineup is generally filled with really good players that are also probably likely getting there in the event Indy Isabella, has a quick score or something like that and the game turns into a shootout. So I think that's fine. Canadian Capper, He's got a free $100 bet on the game. What is your bet? I don't have props in front of me. I could try to pull some up, but my first lean, I have bet this, is just the Seahawks minus 3.5. That is my personal one. If I go to the expert survey, right, it's a premium tool here. I don't know. 3 of them want Arizona. The 3 of them want the over. So I don't know. I'm personally on Seattle. I like that Seattle minus 3.5. Seattle's just too good. Russell Wilson is too good.
Yeah, I'm the one of the 4 that is on Seattle, so we agree.
All right, let's see here. Kirk at the captain. I think you can play Christian Kirk at the captain, no problem tonight, right?
He is my highest owned captain.
Yes. So talk about what are your Christian Kirk and the captain lineups, right? Because he had 3 targets last week, and he did 2 touchdowns, right? So he had himself a good game, but not a lot of targets going his way here. They just didn't really need it because, well, one, Kyler was not very accurate at all against Dallas. Did you see what Kyle Allen was able to do today? I mean, come on, Kyler, you got to be better than that. But they just didn't need to go to the passing game too much.
Yeah, he was pretty bad actually last week. So I'm betting on Kirk's talent, and I'm betting that Murray's going to have a better game. I mean that was definitely his worst passing game so far this year. I think he's a better passer than what he showed last week. And Kirk, I mean, he's got the pedigree. Everything says that this guy should be able to produce in the NFL. So I'm just betting on that, taking the price savings so that I can jam in Russ and Lockett or Russ and Metcalf coming back.
Let's see here. Michael wanted to know, Swain is captain? No. Swain and flex, okay. Swain as captain is a hard pass for me, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Let's see. Olsen. Will Olsen score a touchdown tonight? He gets a couple. He's got the red zone. He's got the inside the 10 looks. It's possible. This is, Seattle. Arizona, long time. Tight ends against Arizona. Does Greg Olsen know about this?
I hope so. I've got a bunch of them. So.
Let's see if I can get a couple other ones in here. Someone want to know on FanDuel, do you prefer 3-2, 2-3, 4-1, 1-4? The standard, I'm trying to think in my head, the standard FanDuel lineup, what the most duplicated lineup is going to be both quarterbacks. It's going to be Olsen and Fitzgerald, so we're at a 2-2, and then you're going to be Lockett and that is FanDuel, right? Only 5. Yeah, so that's the 3-2. I think that's like the standard FanDuel team. So doing anything other than that is probably, if you're trying to differentiate, I don't know. I don't really study FanDuel 3-2, 2-3. It's more reliant on DraftKings. Vodak, he wants to know, he just got on, who do you guys have for the against the spread pick? We both like Seattle minus 3.5, but we are on our own island on this show because both Squirrel Patrol, Head Choppler, and Justin Van Zuden, aka STL Cards, they both like Arizona. So I hope Seattle does it because I just want to tell Justin he's wrong on this and I'll chat with him. So. I think the loss of Chandler Jones is big. I think Russell Wilson is too good, and I don't see Pete Carroll reverting. I literally think Russell Wilson was like, I'm not, if you pay me all this money and don't let me throw the ball, I'm just gonna like cause havoc for you for the rest of your career. And I think Pete Carroll's just like, okay, you can throw the ball. I literally think that this is what's happened this year, and I don't see that reverting. And I legitimately think Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yep, I agree. And I want to hammer home that Arizona defensive point because everybody said that last week, that Arizona's defense is going to fall off a bunch with the loss of Chandler Jones.
Against Dallas.
And they went out and they dominated Dallas.
Yeah.
And Andy Dalton.
A little different.
Yeah, definitely a different game.
Why does everyone's like Freddie Swain captain on draft? What does this Freddie Swain at captain lineup look like? I can't just legitimately go into it thinking I could get a 0 at my captain spot. What does this look like? I'm gonna put it in here. People in chat, what does your Freddie Swain lineup look like? I don't let you post full lineups Tell me what the hell you're doing with Freddie Swain and captain. Why does everyone want to do this?
I think it's the one viable method to get both quarterbacks and
Like DK and
Hopkins
Lockett and
Metcalf.
Hopkins
Yes.
and all that.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know.
You can see.
I don't think I could do that.
No, what you're doing there, you're hoping that it's spread out. Then, if Lockett, Metcalf, or Hopkins go for multiple touchdowns, you need them in the captain. So, the only way that Swain in the captain works is if nobody else really goes nuts.
Yeah, because you can get Swain, Wilson, Murray, Lockett, Metcalf. You could switch out Hopkins for your choice right there. And you can still get a Greg Olsen or a Larry Fitzgerald. Or you don't have to do anything else weird on the rest of your lineup if you do that.
Right.
But I don't think I can do that tonight.
It still makes you decide between one of Hopkins, Lockett, and Metcalf. If you could play all three of those, then maybe I could get on board with it. But you still have to make a tough decision on one of those three.
All right, so he's on Swain with Murray, Wilson, right? Hopkins, Carson, and Edmonds. I mean, Edmonds is still a little bit of a risk in my opinion to not have a great game. Drake is definitely still the number one option, regardless of whatever you think is going on out there. I don't know. I don't think I would do that tonight.
You would be begging Swain to catch a touchdown.
Well, yeah, if he catches the touchdown, that lineup's going to look pretty good in my opinion. But
yeah.
I just don't see that happen. There's a couple other ones on here. Slim Brody, he want to know, he's got DraftKings captain with Edmonds, or save a little bit and go from Edmonds to Kirk with Kirk at captain. Isn't Kirk more than Edmonds?
He is, yeah. But I have more Kirk. I think there's more upside. I think they're going to be trailing and have to throw the ball more. You could argue that Edmonds will.
It seems like a lot of the people in here, I want to play these random ass guys who can get legitimately are projected for one target. Will Dissly and Freddie Swain in the captain. This game, I think, has too many points tonight. I have no lineup like that. Do you have any lineups like that?
None. Zero.
I don't like it, guys. I would recommend if you want to play Dissly or Swain, play them at your flex and get a good quantity known player in your captain spot. I think there's too many points to be scored tonight.
Yeah. And it does make the decisions difficult, but you got to pick a game script and roll with it. Just make sure that your lineups are correlated to whatever game script you can play both sides of the games in different lineups. Mm-hmm. But when you're building a lineup for whatever captain, just make the lineup make sense to that game script.
All right. Here, so Slim, I figured it out. I see you down there. So DK, to me it's always DraftKings, right? But it's DK Metcalf, obviously. So, did you understand what I was asking in that question?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Isabella in the flex, we've gone over that. I like Isabella tonight. He could be one of the difference makers. His 3 targets are insanely more valuable than Freddie Swain or Will Dissly 3 targets, right? Because Isabella 3 targets can be 2 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. And Will Dissly, that's not in his range of outcomes. And Swain, that is not in his range of outcomes. So I like Isabella. You can play Isabella in flex. He's probably the cheapest guy I would personally play in the flex spot tonight. Dan Smith, you want to know, is it possible to fade Hopkins because of the injury? I'm not. You are definitely way higher on Hopkins than I am. I'm on the Seattle side for my spend up receivers. I'm on the Lockett. I'm on Carson more than I am Hopkins. They do like to spread the ball out a little bit in Arizona. I don't have a lot of Hopkins tonight, and I think you do. So we are on two different stands here.
Yep. I have a lot more Carson with Hopkins more than I have Metcalf with Hopkins is the difference, I think.
I see. So you're playing the maybe Carson runs in a couple and they got to throw, then it's an all-out shootout all game long, something like that. I see what you're doing. All right, we're going to probably be out of here in just a minute or two. So any final questions, please get them in, guys. If you want access to any of this cool stuff, the expert survey, Gridiron IQ, Slate IQ, Lineup HQ, everything Q here on Rotogrinders. Go to rotogrinders.com/media/SNF, right? Sunday Night Football. If you are new to Rotogrinders Premium, you will get $5 off. If you missed that, shoot me a Twitter DM at Brit_Divine, and I will hook you up with it. Let's see. QB in the captain spot from Derek. That's fine. You're generally reaching for sure for like a Swain, a Daniels, a Disley in that particular lineup, but I think that's completely fine. Both quarterbacks plenty capable of monster scores on their own. 100. Murray has 100 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in his outcomes. Russell Wilson, maybe not 100, but he can get 60 and multiple rushing scores. You can play the quarterback and the captain no problem tonight.
Yep. So that's something I usually don't do, like at all. Like I'll usually have 0 quarterback captain lineups. I'm sprinkling a few tonight. It's still a really tough build, and it's a build that'll be highly duplicated, but I am doing it.
Jared, this is a good one. This is a high leverage game, leaving 2,000 plus on the table. I think on both sites. I don't think I landed on a hand built. Right, my hand hurts. Hand built about some teams before the show. I don't have anything with over 2,000, and usually I do.
Yeah.
Maybe he's onto something.
Yeah, I like it. Because everyone's going to try to spend that money.
Yeah.
It's just too hard to fit the people you want, so nobody's going to leave extra.
That's exactly what he says. I'm not really doing it. Keith's not really doing it. Maybe you are onto something. I probably wouldn't do it on every lineup, but if you've got 5 lineups, if you find something you like with 2,000 plus in one, I'm okay with it. Think you might be onto something. Let's see. We did not talk about defenses at all tonight. I don't think I could play Arizona. Russell Wilson just doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't really make mistakes. Chris Carson can fumble, but I don't really see the Arizona. Kyler has been throwing some picks this year.
And he'll run into sacks too.
Yeah, he'll do that. I don't think maybe I played Seattle defense once in my lineups, like my 10 I hand built. But I don't know. I'm not really on the defenses tonight.
I've got a sprinkle, and I mean, I'm talking like 10% across. I think I have 40 lineups.
Yeah.
And that's just because if Kyler sack fumble and Seattle scoops and scores, or he happens to throw a pick 6, they're cheap enough where they might be the highest scoring dart throw. Mm-hmm. So I sprinkled Seattle a little bit.
All right,
but I'm with you. No Arizona.
I think that's going to about do it for this show. We'll give you time to go make your lineups. And for some of you who joined late, if you want to go back and rewatch it, it gives you time to do that. I know some people message me on Twitter, why do you cut the show a little early? Because we want to give you time to make your lineups. And a lot of people join late, gives them time to go back and rewatch it. Basically before the show starts. If you're premium members, you can go watch the premium video, go look at the expert survey, go look at the Slate IQ. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. But yeah, fun game tonight. I'm excited. I've got the Trulies, and I've got some Halloween candy that's supposed to be for kids, but they're not coming to the door this year, so it's going to be mine tonight. So I'm excited to get into that and watch this game tonight. Thanks to everybody for watching. We really appreciate you here at Rotogrinders choosing to watch our shows, not just this one, but all of them, the podcasts, the premium. We do put out so much content here. We really appreciate you guys checking it all out. And Keith, it's fun doing these shows. I wish we would disagree a little more sometimes.
It seems like we're always on the same side, and last week it was not a good thing.
Yeah, so I wish we would disagree a little bit more once in a while. But I'm hoping for a lot of points in this one because that's how all my lineups are made.
Yep.
Thanks to everyone for watching. We're going to get on out of here. Have a good night and enjoy the game.